Untold stories in the airwaves, flying through the night. Experience voices, tales so bold. Streaming live, the truth unfolds. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's so I remember right. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can't hide. Aliens in the attic, UFOs in the sky. Cryptids lurking, oh my, ghosts in the hallway whispering your name. The paranormal, the unexplained. Become a VIP, get the inside scoop. Unlock the mysteries, be part of the group. Live streaming stories, they're talking to you. Super chats buzzing, join the crew. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild member ride. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can hide. So if you've got the guts and you want to explore, tune into the Untold, it's what you're looking for. From aliens to ghosts and all that's unseen. Untold Radio Network, where the world's mysteries convene.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Spectrum here on the Untold Radio Network. I am your host, Barnaby Jones from Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society. We have a pair of awesome guests joining the show today that we will get to in just a second. But first, guys, if you want to meet us in person, I'm going to be at SilCon in Gaze, Illinois, September 19th and 20th. It is a awesome kind of cosplay and Comic-Con event. So there's a couple paranormal investigators and all kinds of other stuff there. So if you're interested in that, come out and check it out. And then, guys, coming up, we are going to be at Van Meter Visitor Festival in Van Meter, Iowa, September 27th. And we are doing a presentation on exploring the paranormal at the Neenah Public Library in Wisconsin on Wednesday, October 29th, and following that, we're actually going to be doing a live paranormal investigation of the Neenah Public Library. So if you guys are around, that's going to be a fun event. Come out and check that out. Then coming up next year, April 17th through the 19th, we are doing CapCon in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And May 8th through the 10th, we are doing CapCon Wisconsin in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. So a lot of cool stuff coming up. If you guys are interested in meeting myself and the rest of my team, you can do so very easily. For all that and more, visit wisconsincaps.com/public events and you can get all the latest details on all of our locations that we're going to be. Today's episode is pre-recorded. My guests are coming to us live from the future, 14 hours ahead of me today, all the way from Australia. So without any further ado, please welcome. Let's get to our guests. right, guys, my guests today are Anthony and Monique. They are not your average couple. While others plan cozy dinners and Netflix, their date nights take them deep into the unknown, abandoned asylums, prisons, forgotten graveyards, and places where the shadows whisper back. That's their idea of romance. This is their twisted love story through EVP sessions, cold spots, and occasionally unexplained screams. They're obsessed with the paranormal, drawn to the places most people run from, and they take you along for every bone-chilling encounter. Their mission? To explore the haunted and hidden, to flirt with fear, and maybe, just maybe, make contact with what lies beyond the veil, whether you're a believer or a skeptic, or just here for the chills. Welcome to Date Night with the Ghost Gang. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Anthony and Monique. Welcome, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, a pleasure is mine. I love Australia. I hope someday to go there and not get killed by the numerous things that are venomous, poisonous, and bitey and stingy, and it happens. But
yeah, the fear of spiders and everything else that crawls, and we have pet kangaroos. That's the rumor, right?
Well, we just saw a dingo go past our house, so
that's nice. Have you? We're gonna get to paranormal, of course, but since you were on the topic here, have you guys ever seen or had any sightings near you of the thylacines?
No.
The Tasmanian tigers?
Oh
no. They're really. I think they're almost extinct.
They're supposed to be extinct, but there have been some occasional sightings and stuff. So.
Not around us. We're in New South Wales, so towards Sydney.
Okay.
I think the Tasmanian tigers are like further down.
You're looking at me like I know the answer.
You should know.
I don't know the
terrible?
answer.
We're Aussies, and we don't even know where they are.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure they come from Tasmania.
I think that I'm going to say Tasmania, but
so to go to Tasmania from here, it would probably take about 12 hours drive.
Oh, wow.
Maybe longer.
It's 9 hours to Melbourne, which is Victoria, and then Tasmania is another state, and you have to actually. There's not even a bridge to go there, is there?
Sweetheart's boat.
So you got to get on a boat.
No, I'll jump on a plane. It's one or the other. But I'd rather
it's a
go
little
on a plane.
island.
Yeah.
So you can't drive there.
I can't believe you looked at me and says there a bridge that links. Are you serious?
I've never
sorry, there you got me now. We do some crazy stuff, but that's coming back to haunt you. I promise you that is not good.
I've never been to Tasmania.
Yeah. Please excuse my wife, guys.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, no, I was wondering too, because I was already aware Tasmania was an island, and I'm like, it's a 12-hour drive. Okay, yeah.
I can only hope this goes up from here, bud.
Okay. Not a problem. Yeah. No, I know that they are from Tasmania, obviously, but there have been sightings on the mainland. So yeah, as long as I had you there, I thought maybe I'd ask if you guys had heard anything. But
never. I've seen them in a zoo. That's it.
Have you?
Yeah, that's it. Isn't that sad though? It's so sad that they're almost extinct, and we don't get to sight them.
Nope. Awesome.
I'm sorry. You have me speechless. Keep going. Okay, let's go.
All right, we're going to get onto a topic that you guys are familiar with. So let's talk about how you guys you have a very unique approach, with the whole date night paranormal thing. So were you guys interested in the paranormal before you became a couple, or was it something that you kind of fell into together? How did the whole aspect of this kind of come about?
Oh, I'll probably start.
It comes from me.
It does come from mine. Mine's a psychic medium and has been forever. The story came about where, one night, and we have limited time, and we have a very, very, very extended family, a lot of kids, and a lot of day chores, through businesses and everything else that leave the time we have together very limited. So we try and make the most of that time of we have together. But it actually started. Mon was just watching a show, and she turned around and put on YouTube, and we sort of chill out once we know the house is settled for the night. And I lean over and have a look, and she's watching a paranormal YouTube thing that she just came across, and I start just going, oh, this is not bad, And I always know Mon's in sync when it comes to it. Like things that she has experienced and made calls on have been so spot on with people, and people do reach out to her for card readings, for psychic readings, anything she can do to help. And I was looking at this, and this is really cool. So I'm entertained, trying to work out whether things are overproduced. Is it just for content purposes? What's really happening behind these cameras? But as we're watching it, and then one episode goes into another, like you do, and you become quietly obsessed, I start thinking, okay, well, this equipment looks really good. So in my head, I look at that because I think, okay, I need definitive proof. Like I'm wondering what these devices do. How can you actually debunk them in a way where we turn around and where these people are turning around and making things actually apparent that it is actually happening at that time in that actual location. So I put together a little list, turned around to Mon and said, there you go. And Mon goes, you really didn't do that, did you? I said, yeah. I said, because, I think we want to do this. And so Mon, just said, okay, this is pretty cool, right? It's right down her alley.
I got really excited because probably 15 years before I met Anthony, I was going out on ghost tours and doing the ghost hunting. So it kind of pulled me back to where my passion lay. And it was really exciting to say, hey, if you're interested, I can take you somewhere.
So my hand was up. I said, I need to go. Take me somewhere, right? And we live close to the suburb Picton, and Picton's renowned. If anyone does any research for this suburb, it's known as one of Australia's most haunted towns. And it's a very old town, a lot of history. But there are a couple of locations and one that's actually accessible for the public during the day, which is the old Picton Tunnel. It used to be known as the Mushroom Tunnel. And Mon said, okay, well, how about I take you there? I'm nervous as anything, right? So I said, okay, yeah, this would be great. Let's just go in this place. And no equipment, nothing at all. And, we went there, and just the quality time was enough. And even just the interest, we realize as much as we have other things in common. This was something that is such a niche passion. It's got a lot of people questioning who we are and the fact that they think we're a little cooked, right? Because they go, I don't understand. Like, I understand people do have passions, and but how do you do what you do and enjoy it in the same circumstance, right? Enjoy getting scared. But we went there, loved it. So then all of a sudden this equipment started rolling.
It was, and when can we go back to the tunnel? And he was trying to get all his friends to go with him, and just to experience it so they could understand him.
Yeah, no one wants a bar of it.
No, right? So we're going back quite often to the tunnel.
Yeah, and then we started reaching out to some paranormal communities and guides that actually run tours throughout Sydney, and just as the obsession grew, our relationship with these guys grew, and then they started realizing how serious and respectful we're becoming when we turn up on these tours. And instead of being there amongst a group of 30 people going to, I don't know, it might be the old Parramatta jail, which has since closed down to allow people to go in and investigate it, or even other locations, these beautiful guides and people that we became friends with were giving us our own free time. So we'd turn up and look, as I said before, in a previous podcast, it's like we were a production crew. There were cameras, there were all the equipment, backpacks, you name it, and everyone would look at us and go, okay, well, who are these guys? And we're going, well, actually, we're nobody. We just love doing what we're doing. We're going to go and have a bit of an exploration. And we go out on our own. And then that was unfolding. And it was creating monsters. And it was creating, no pun intended, a monster in me, to the point where it's ignited something. I love the rush. I find it really hard to explain to people. And one analogy is, if someone imagines they're going on their first skydive and they open the doors of the plane, you stand to the ledge and you're about to go and you have that countdown, but you're about to go, right? That feeling inside is, that was my initial rush when I started experiencing what we have been experiencing and realizing this is actually real. What we're delving in is it's the untouched, but it's, these things are happening. I'm not losing my mind. Mon's not losing her mind. If we can't debunk it and find some real reason, a human reason why something like this happens, then we're experiencing the paranormal. And there is something there through communication. So, Date Night with the Ghost Gang came along really easily after that, because that was our time together. Instead of going to, like you read at the start, instead of going to movies, instead of those quiet candlelit dinners, we do go for dinner every now and then. But now it's a drive-through because we're on our way to a ghost investigation.
Now he'll say to me, "You want to go out to dinner?" And I say, "No, can we go on a ghost hunt or something?"
Oh, I know. So
that's what excites us. And there was no intention in the beginning to be filming for the YouTube channel, but it got. I
turned it down so many times. Barnaby.
He became so obsessed with all this equipment and getting the best camera and best mic and all this. And I said, "Look, if you're going to be spending this money, we may as well put it into a YouTube video."
Yeah, well, it was one camera. The one camera became two cameras, which became three cameras, which became a whole heap of paranormal equipment. And then I'd be watching our favorite YouTubers. I don't mind dropping their names because, we're more or less our inspiration came from them to be able to start something like this. So Elton Castay from the Overnight Channel, the Twin Paranormal, Project Fear. It's the main sort of niche of these people that are out there. We were watching them, and I was getting a lot of information based on how they would be respectful, how they would be inquisitive about what they were doing.
And inspiration.
100% inspirations to us. And, that's where it came from. And so all this sort of stuff, finding the cameras, I just looked at what they were using. I did no research. I had contacts in the electronic industry, and I turned around and reached out to them and said, "This is what I want." And they said, "Why?" And I explained, and the guy's laughing his head off. He couldn't understand. It's going in green with the intention of just learning as we're going along. And from where we were, I'd say a year and a half ago to now, has it been that long?
It's been 3 years.
It can't be 3 years.
Yeah, it's been taken a long time to get these videos together.
Wow.
To the standard where we wanted to release anything. And even with the first video that we put on YouTube, it's not up to scratch completely. However, there's a nostalgia attached to it because Parramatta Jail, we felt a very strong connection there. We went there so many times.
That's our first place that we actually started doing this properly.
Yeah, we got serious about it there. And since then, they've closed. Government authorities have basically said, no, you can no longer use this for tour purposes to the company who was renting it. So we thought, well, we've got to honour Parramatta Jail and just put the best video that we had at the time up. But it's up. And
do you know what? I'm ADHD. I drive myself crazy when it comes to this stuff. And I realize, okay, well, you got to keep something raw. You need it to be real. You need the reactions to be real and the conversation to flow. And 99% of these videos have been, they haven't been edited a lot. I mean, the content that we film could be hours and hours and hours worth of content. But you got to realize that someone wants to watch something, what people get off on. They like seeing people get scared. They like seeing the devices go off. I mean, it becomes a story that has to be shortened. And, I think the catch is the sincerity and love that we have. And, it just shows the true relationship of us, but the joy we have doing this together. And you mentioned before you went on air was the fact that, this is purely for our satisfaction. And if it becomes, if it gets traction, we love people to be able to like and subscribe and show some support and share the love that we're actually showing by doing the content. And if that happens, that is an absolute bonus.
Well, that's what I said to Anthony. People are going to want to see this. No matter, he said it's not good enough yet. And I said, no matter how raw it is, we take them on our date night, on our journey. So, we've edited it to the standard that we like it now. And
Meaning I've sat in front of the monitor
He
and
has
started
edited.
throwing things at the monitor every time I'm doing, because Final Cut Pro freezes and I go, why? And I turn it off and walk off in a huff, then come back again. But it's just, but for purpose of, I'm teaching myself along the way through some influence of people that do know what they're doing. So it's really it becomes a kind journey. So I do have that guidance, but like I was saying, these are going to get better. And they are getting better. From the first one to the second, it's chalk and cheese, in my opinion. The ones we've got coming out just become even more truthful. The footage gets even more apparent that this is actually real. There's no editing. There's nothing over the top of it to be able to set things off that require people to walk in front of the device to set it off, yet it's going off in front of us, and you invest good money for that purpose, because you need to know that there is not going to be a flaw in that device. And that was where my mind was at. So that's how we came about it. But it's onwards and upwards, mate. This is very exciting. There's a million plans ahead that we'd like to do, and where we'd like to reach out to people in the States. I mean, it's a big goal for us to get over there, and we would have to do it in numerous times, because you could only get over there for our availability could be 2 weeks, but you want to be able to hit 6 places up in 2 weeks and then go back, do that footage, then go back in another 6 months and do it again, and just keep going. So we don't run out of content, because that's the hardest part.
I think what's holding us back is
children.
But we're afraid of, are we going to be accosted at the airport, and because of all the equipment we have, are they going to think that we're terrorists or something?
I'm Lebanese. Hey, I'm Lebanese heritage, so God help me. They'll look at me and they'll give me the pat down immediately. That's it. 6'4" Lebanese guy, mate.
They always pull him up at the airport. So we're afraid that are they going to allow us to take all that equipment over there?
It's just research.
It's just hesitance.
I think it's anxiety for you, but I'm not afraid. I just got to work out how to do it.
Yeah.
That's all it really comes down to, and then we'll jump on a plane. But
we're really chafing at the bit to get over there
100%
and explore all these places on our bucket list.
It is. It is a bucket list. That's what it is. You start ticking them off one by one by one. You go, actually, I can't believe I've just been there. It's like, this is really big. You do the research of the place, and you go, okay, well, we've just done that. And they say, how do you wind down afterwards? And you go, we kind of don't. It's like, it's becomes very, very, very hard to switch off.
We're trying to hit lots of places around Australia, and it's really strange over here because a lot of the historical properties that are haunted are governed by some kind of government body, right? So, and they have restrictions on what you can do in there. So we might be allowed in, but we're not allowed to film. Or they won't allow a private investigation. Well, we're not going to go on a public investigation and film. So you hit all sorts of roadblocks along the way.
A lot of red tape. But
a lot of the old properties also, if they're not owned by the government, they're owned privately, and they're kind of left abandoned and fenced off with security cameras. And
unless the people that do own them, they do not want to buy into the fact that they want to admit the place as haunted as what it is, so they switch off from even accepting that. But all those other places will come in without disclosing where. Sometimes you have to find a way, and it's a bit of an exploration. And we've done that a few times. I'm 40. We're middle-aged, married couple, and we're finding ways to feel very young. There's no doubting that, So.
But it's really sad. They're not honoured in the way that they are in the States. These old properties, and if the private investors buy them, they will leave them, like I said, fenced off, and they're abandoned, and they go into ruins, and they're waiting, I think, for them to get to a point where they're no longer redeemable, and they can just
knock them down and rebuild,
demolish them, and then they build whatever on the land, which is really, really sad.
It loses the history of the place. Yet it's all, in their minds, it's all business anyway. So that beside the point makes it a little bit hard for us.
And that's what's happened with a property. We're actually releasing that video next week, I think. There's a property, it's an old abandoned school, and that's haunted by a girl who her life was taken from her in that school. It was a boarding school. And the investors who purchased that are getting ready to demolish it. I'm not sure what they're doing with the land, but...
Have you seen the shorts, mate? Did you have a chance? There's one... No, it's called it's Sydney Church of England Girls Grammar School. That's what it's called. I got it right this time. On the video, it took me about 100 takes to get that, by the way.
It's a bit of a tongue twister.
Oh, it is, yeah. But the hook's out at the moment. That's up on all the socials, and with intent, we've put down the date as the 13th to be the release date. But it does show another side, and again, like we say, it just lifts what we do. I hope people see to another level with the same passion and enthusiasm that we showed in the first video, and we're going to show, and if we were lucky enough to do 100 of them, would be great. You know what I mean? So that's the deal. So Date Night with the Ghost Gang was born after a lot of procrastination from me. It was all on me to actually get it happening. So
I finally got my way.
You get your way. Happy wife, happy life, man. What do you say?
That's it.
Yeah.
That sounds very similar to how CAPS kind of got started. We went out and we did an investigation because I wanted to see this. We went to a place that had Bigfoot, fairy, UFO, all this stuff happening there. And we went in just thinking, okay, I want to document it. We had one GoPro and that was it. And we had stuff start happening. And what do you do with it then? Like, we had all this evidence, and I'm like, well, somebody needs to see this. And so our first episode that we put out is, it's okay, but it's again, like you said, poor quality. It wasn't filmed for, entertainment purposes. It was filmed as documentation. And since then, I've taught myself, like you said, how to video edit, and then we have more and more cameras and more equipment, and and now it's become, when you go somewhere, we do the whole history of the location. So our episodes have gone from season 1, now we're up into season 7, and the whole episode quality, if I do say so myself, has gone a long way. You have a lot higher quality video production and everything. And, like, you guys are what did you say, about a year or 3 years in. So, as you guys go, you're going to learn what works and what doesn't, and, what you want out of this. And
I held on to the video, the Parramatta Jail, I think, for about a year and a half before we decided to launch it. Mm-hmm. And so whatever I released from here on, I was always looking back saying, should I actually change this up a little bit? And thinking, actually, no, because you've got to be able to see the growth of who we are, what we're doing. And
I think there was even a point, though, that he said, I don't know if I want to put this up.
Yeah.
I said, you have to. It's nostalgic.
My editor said the same thing to me. He goes, it has to be a journey. They want to see the honest and raw people that are on the face of this actual channel, and know that that when you, I don't know, it's one of these things, right? Because you feel exposed. It's one thing to go and do an investigation, and the best investigations we've ever had is when you are susceptible to allowing yourself to open up. Everyone wants to be secure and get in their little bubble, right? And you have to be vulnerable. And that's the bottom line. I've always got a camera. I'm the one that does the majority of filming. And so there's always a security, right? And even though you walk down a complete dark corridor and I physically can't see anything, but I've got an IR camera in my hand, I've still got a reference, right? But if I switch that off, and I've done that to show people exactly what I really am seeing, you just rely on sensors, and that's where you get the chills. That's where you're scared to take the next step forward. That's where you're so conscious of the tiniest little tap behind you, a knock on a window, the sound of footsteps, everything that has unfolded in some cases so dominant in certain locations where, like, it scares the living crap out of the two of us. And and Mon doesn't get really easily scared. And we're saying before, like, there's a recent trip where we went away, and there's certain things that happened, and that was Yeah, Mon said, I've never been so scared in my entire life. And this is a woman that has delved in the spirit world for her whole life. You know, if it wasn't intentional, it's just part of her psyche. And she realized she was feeling these things. She was seeing these apparitions. And, you know, you had to accept, you know, that gift because that's what it is.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, as at times maybe people may say it will be controversial. Say the word controversial. Yeah, that's it. So that's yeah, but this is who you are. But then at the same time going and saying, I don't want to be here physically. You know, I have to leave. And I'm grabbing her like I'm holding onto an EMF device saying, you're going nowhere because you are my proof that this is happening. And one wants to bail and I'm pulling her back saying, we need to stay.
I'm out. Like, bye.
Yeah, she beelines straight away. She gets a bad feeling. She's out and said, actually, no, you're not. We've come down here for a reason, you know. We like pushing it. We like the idea of trying to provoke with respect. That's a nice way of putting it, actually, because a lot of people can always push with disrespect and real muscle and muscle up to whatever spirit is taunting them. No, we don't buy into it. You know, we've got a lot of beliefs between the two of us, which is a really good common ground. That, you know, demonic. The word demonic to me, you know, I've got a little opinion on that, and it's very similar to Mons, where, you know, I think they could be very disgruntled, angry spirits. They may be still trapped. They have a reason to be. They have the reason to be aggressive. There is a reason behind it, and, you know, maybe our opinion is this because we haven't experienced something so dark and inhuman that it's convinced me otherwise. And that's sort of where I sort of stand. So we have devices that may say demon and satanic or any of that sort of words that come up, and every time we look at it, I know it's the Aussie way, right? We look at each other and we laugh. We go, "Come on, really?" Like that, and say, "Come on, like, seriously, who are you?" You know, and we'll play it off, and we'll just keep the investigation going. But that's, I suppose, that was what actually makes us a little different from the rest of them.
That's it.
That's what I think. Yeah,
we're probably a bit too laid back at times in the investigations because there's a lot of laughing. We just say, yeah, right. It says run on a device and we'll say, no, we're not going anywhere, and we have a giggle. Yeah,
but except for the last place.
Place.
Yeah, I've never felt so on edge, but that was what. I'll leave you to bring that up when you're ready.
Awesome. I would like to go back actually to the tunnel, the very first place that you guys went, because, you know, you said that you were interested in it, and, you know, this is what started it. So, you know, you didn't have all the cameras, you didn't have all the equipment. So tell me what happened at that tunnel that, you know, changed everything that you said, well, okay, that's not a person, this is paranormal.
Well,
feeling, wasn't it?
It was a feeling, and again, going there during the day versus going there at night is completely different. So senses are enlightened again. So I think the first time I actually physically walked in there was in the afternoon one time, real sunny afternoon. It felt a little on edge, but I think when you say that tunnel, when the first visit at night, there was an echoed voice that I remember coming down one side, the footsteps because it's a gravel tunnel, like access. Sometimes if it rains, there's water all down the middle section, you know, so water can be a conduit for spirits. And where, you know, something was drawn there. And where even, I think there was even photos as well, just from our mobile. And one took some photos. I was walking down there and there was orbs and these unexplained, and it was no flash photography. But
I'll just say I'm not big on orbs.
No.
I'm very, I like to debunk them constantly, but there were a couple of orbs in these photos that made me question whether they were in fact orbs rather than moisture or dust or.
Do you know what it is? And that feeling, because it was a feeling, no equipment, but yet you know, they always say there's that cold breeze, that chill that happens. You know, it absolutely made every hair on your arm stand on end, but it was a certain height. It's not like you stand in a breeze that's really cold and it hits you in the face and you feel it all over your body. I mean, it's just a waist-height breeze that just comes out of nowhere when it's completely still. Yeah, and that's what I would question. Ask my mom would give me a bit of insight into it. And she says basically that's when, you know, it's game time. Well, you know, that's where things are going to potentially start unfolding.
A little bit of history. I had been to the tunnel many, many times years ago, And it's the side of where a woman was walking through this train tunnel when it was in use. And she used to use it as a shortcut to get to her brother's house. And she was hit by a train. Some people think she did it on purpose, and some people think it was an accident. But the thing is, she knew the train timetable. She was a local. Her family grew up there. So she was unfortunately killed in the tunnel. And ever since, she's apparently haunted this tunnel. And
I was going to say, inside the tunnel, those little, I don't know what they call these, like the little recesses where if the train coming, you tuck away inside that. So there's numerous these ways sort of as you're going down this tunnel. So she had a space to actually go to.
She could have escaped.
So she was saying, okay, was she ill? Was she, did she suffer a mental illness? Was there another underlying reason? But there's no facts that have ever come out about this. Did she take her own life?
Yeah. So they used to run. They used to run ghost tours there years ago. But the council have taken a stronger hold of it, and they won't allow that anymore. So it's closed off to the public at night time. Not for us.
Not for us. Don't tell me where that one. That's it.
We find our ways.
Yeah.
But it's still haunted, and there is the soul of this lady named Emily, who is the woman we're referring to in there. There's been other deaths in there as well. And there's something dark in this tunnel, and you can feel when it comes, because you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach where it's a sense of dread. And this is what Anthony was referring to. You just kind of, you get this feeling as it's sort of coming in, and the atmosphere changes. You feel that shift. So
and then Mon explained afterwards, Barnaby, it was that the spirit realm isn't a performing monkey, right? So you can't go there with the intent that you're going to see everything every time just because the history shows it's haunted. So the first time we went there, it gave me a buzz. Second time we went there, it's still got something about it. There's some unease feeling about walking even up the path towards it. The tunnel appears out of nowhere. It's pitch black. You can't even see 1 foot in there. So there is so much uncertainty. And, again, if you've got no cameras, you've got no equipment, you've got nothing other than yourselves, it highlights your insecurities of being in an environment like that. And that's what I think I was drawn to more than anything. We always say, face your fears. It's one of Elton Castade's, the Overnight Guys merch lines. And we started buying some merch, but we got involved in this. I love that saying because, a lot of times, it's nice to get out of your comfort zone. But in this actual fact, this is an extreme circumstance for us. And, that's where it really got me addicted to it.
Tell me about some of the things that would happen to you. Anthony was going up to the tunnel a lot of the time without me, because sometimes because I'm very sensitive, if I spend too much time doing ghost hunting or paranormal investigating, it drains my energy and I get that psychic hangover.
As they call paranormal hangover, this is real.
So he'd want to do nights back to back, and I'm like, no, I'm out. I can't. I'm still recovering. But he'd go up there and drag one of his friends.
And trying to make a skeptic a believer.
And he'd be on the phone on his way home. It's like, oh my God, guess what happened? And
like
so tell him about
actual footsteps coming into the tunnel. The sound of dogs barking in the tunnel that's not even there, and there was history of again a ghost dog.
You saw that white light.
Yeah, they saw the white light as well. That was scary. The darker entity that's supposed to be there. There's some real heavier spirit with no name, appears suddenly, and I think controls whether Emily is able. Like we haven't physically even been able to contact Emily. And
We think
your
she
eyes
might
plays
be-
trick. Your eyes play tricks on you because if you're looking down something that is so dark, and my friend and I, when we're looking, we could see this haze, and I said to him, "Do you see this?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, cool." I said, "I don't feel like I'm going nuts." And you blink. As soon as you blink and you open your eyes, it came closer. Blink, comes closer again. He goes, "Mate, my mate's back to the wall. Nothing really does scare him." And I knew he was scared. And he goes, "Mate," he said, "this is nuts, right?" And for the hour or so that we were in there, this was just completely visible to us. There's no explanation. I don't know what it was, but whatever it was actually coming closer and closer and closer to us, and then it would just disappear.
It's like a white haze.
Yeah.
Where I think that might have been Emily, the lady, and I think she's more of a residual haunting.
Yep.
But the darker energy that's in there that seems to control the tunnel, I'm pretty sure that is aware when people come.
You can hear stones being thrown.
You feel it go through you.
Yeah.
And I've actually physically seen the black shadow kind of go above. So, and it's terrifying. You just want to get out when it comes.
So we're yet to film. We've tried to film content there to no prevail, to the point where I don't know, wouldn't say, like, it's really strange. I haven't been happy enough to be able to say, the experience has been video worthy, because the devices do go off. We have, for people may not know, the paranormal equipment, like the REM pod, which is all EMF detected energy. When you break that field and touch the device, it will light up different colors. If you hold the antenna in the middle, it'll buzz a certain noise and it will light up in the center. This has to be either physically touched, or you have to be so close to it to set it off. Constantly going off in the tunnel. A music box has a motion sensor that you physically have to walk in front of to set that off, and that plays this beautiful, creepy music that just sends chills to anybody. Going off, but it'll be a little tick, and it just goes off once. And you go, I feel the chill before it happens now. This is what I suppose the training from Mon. I'm just training my body to be able to be susceptible, to be able to willingly want to feel what's around me, and not just solely rely on the equipment we've got. You feel the chill first. That's first and foremost. And as soon as I feel, I've said to my mate who's come numerous times to me, I say on camera, I go, "Here we go." Straight away, because you just know. So you just take the deep breath, and it's like I said before, you're about to jump out of that plane, right? and it's game time. So
the music box starts ticking.
Yeah, it starts ticking a little bit, but it ticks once, and then I'll be going, okay, something's here. You start asking the questions and trying to delve more into who it may be. It'll tick again, then it ticks again, and then all of a sudden it will just go off, and then you go, okay, well, something's right here, and we just have to,
No one's around, and there's no electronic equipment up there. It's an old tunnel in the bush.
It used to be used as a military storage facility back in the war.
They stored ammunition in there for a while.
So it has a lot of history, right? Which is the old, and they used to grow mushrooms in it, called the Old Mushroom Tunnel. If you ever do any research about it, it is notably one of the most, they list it as one of the most haunted locations, but Picton as a country town is in the top 10 most haunted places in Australia historically, and so and we don't live far from it, and the place is absolutely beautiful. You just walk through the town, you love it, right? But it's got so much history, and that's where the George Hotel, which is a video we recently was part of. We had Parramatta Jail and the George IV. George IV is actually a hotel in Picton that we got access to, and that is off the charts. I tell you, like the stuff, it was crazy. So hopefully that answered, mate. We talk. I can talk underwater. I work in sales for 25 years, buddy. So you can have a chat for a while now. This is it.
All right. That's fascinating. I love it. I find really interesting notes about the tunnel and stuff that you're talking about. The dark entity. We hear that a lot in these stories. That kind of seems to not only control you guys and create the fear and stuff of you, but it seems like it also controls and feeds off of the other spirits there.
Yes.
That's exactly
summed it all up.
Yeah.
And it makes me question whether it's been conjured somehow by the fear of the people going to see Emily. I don't know. I do not know. Or were talks of I read in an old newspaper article that there was a man who passed away there, being hit by a train years before Emily. So it could be him. I don't know, but it's very dark and you don't want to be there.
Have you guys heard of like the Hat Man entity?
Yep.
It seems like a lot of the stuff like that is kind of the entity that I would picture being there. It's this dark entity that kind of like the farrier of other souls, and kind of we've had some cases that have dealt with very similar instances where we'll go in and we're trying to talk to the other spirits, and then they say he's coming, he's here. And then the entire mood changes and it's get out, leave, run, you're done, all this stuff. And then this dark presence leaves, and then all the other spirits come back and they're like, oh, hey, how's it going? We're back, and
they all go quiet when the dark shadow appears.
100%.
Really
that's true. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's fascinating how these, so far apart, being Australia, United States, and, all over the world, you have these very similar cases. And it really makes you wonder what this other thing is, this entity, that if it's the same, I don't know, species of entity, or, I really don't think it's demonic. I don't think because it doesn't possess or anything humans, but it's a very controlling entity of the spirit world. Whatever this thing is, or whatever they are, if you want. But
completely agree. Absolutely. So just one of the many places. So there will be some content coming through for this, because it's one place that we have
eventually,
we have to get there, and we and really give it a massive wrap now that we've I would say I'm a little bit more seasoned. I'm really beyond from where that was initially. So
but the disappointing thing about the tunnel is that you don't get radio signal in there, so you can't use the spirit box. We can use Spirit Talker, the Spirit Talker app, but you can't. We can't do an Estes in there.
That'd be great too.
We can't use the spirit box in the portal or anything.
No, but we've only tried it a couple of times. I haven't really.
Never works.
Never works, but it may. You never know. It may just be. It may just be manipulated. You never know. That's the idea, right? The first thing you say is use the energy of the devices, use our energy, and just please show us one way or another that you're here. So if they manipulate the devices and turn everything off, then something's going on. Yeah. So that's another thing too. So yeah, we've got a dog over there, but I'm just sorry if she starts howling. I may have to just take her outside real quick because she's been asleep. I thought she may stay. I thought she may actually stay asleep for the actual whole time we're chatting. But
she's a Velcro dog.
Oh yeah,
not a problem.
Yeah,
no, yeah. So, it's interesting with the spirit boxes, though. I don't think it necessarily needs the radio frequency, like you say, because they're feeding off of the energy of the device, kind of like. Right. And there are people who put them in Faraday bags, so that you're not picking up all the radio frequencies and all that. So I think that, if you're not getting stuff, maybe it's that other thing coming in and blocking it in there, and it's not necessarily, the spirits that aren't coming through or the lack of radio frequency. That's just my opinion. But, you being a tech guy, I think that has something to do with it, because like I said, people have put them in Faraday bags. There's places that specifically sell Faraday bags and pouches and stuff for them. So I don't know.
It's very true. It's actually a great theory. And I think that's exactly what happens. Yeah, absolutely.
Cheeky little thing.
The cheeky spirits, I know what.
So you guys, you said that you had just recently taken a trip to Victoria, and you've had some really interesting stuff happen there. Tell me about that.
Oh yeah, we went down intentionally to go to 3 locations. It was Beechworth Jail, Beechworth Asylum, and Beechworth Asylum, notably, I think about 2010, was voted one of the most haunted places on the planet. And then from there down to Arundel Asylum, which is the largest asylum in the Southern Hemisphere. And the first 2 were great. We had a good time, and we're away for the week, taking a road trip. Everything was terrific. And I said to Mon after the first 2, I said, you know what? I said, one, not that I was disappointed, but no, maybe I had higher expectations. And this goes back to that theory of, they're not going to always be present. It doesn't matter how much traffic the actual place gets. Some nights these spirits want to sleep. That's the bottom line, right? And so I thought maybe it's just holding off. So maybe it's holding off for Aradale.
It's a warm-up.
It's a warm-up. And we started a 6:30 investigation at Aradale. I think, by the time we left the premise was 2:30 in the morning. So at least eight hours of just straight videoing and content, which we felt like it was only about 2 hours worth, like in our heads, because it was so active. Like, it was amazing. This place is incredible. Just to walk through the grounds, I mean, Mon and I were just going, we can't believe this. It's absolutely incredible. And the biggest, I suppose, one of the biggest things that happened, and we started teasing a few little reels and the raw reels from the videos. There was a place that was in, it's called the staff quarters. And from previous, I suppose, videos we watched on YouTube with some of the guys that have come to Australia and done this investigation, there was a challenge the guys would always put up. And one of the challenges was, there's a base camp, which is like a big lounge room that's down in the center on the ground floor. And so you put all your equipment there. Mon stayed down there. And the challenge for me was to take the IR camera and limited equipment. So I had a epoch box, which for those who don't know is a yes/no device that runs again on EMF energy. So great for spontaneous questions, investigations where you can get some direct answers. I had one of those. I had my EVP recorder, which again, it's a Panasonic DR60, and again, influenced by what I had seen previously when I was buying all the equipment. But I was pushed into that knowing that this is like the white noise magnet of EVP recorders, and it does tend to just get so much. So I walked out of this, the challenge was walk out of this actual lounge room, turn left, go down the corridor, up 2 flights of stairs, across the whole building, and down the other fire escape on the other side. And so off I go. And as I'm going up each level, I open the fire door, I'll take a couple of photos from my mobile, do some investigating and keep going. And I got to the top level and I'm about 25 minutes in, and I've gone to the end of the corridor, turned around, and I've taken some photos of just this dark corridor. Little to know the following day, we go through the actual footage, and I've caught this apparition. And the apparition is, once it was exposed, and you can even see when it's not exposed, but it's like a headless or real blurred-headed figure in a real long coat or dress. Don't even think there's shoes, and it's looking at me. There's just, it could be 50 meters away. I heard absolutely nothing. We actually went back to the guide and said to our guide, we go, okay, well, every place we went to, she said, how long would you like there? So give us about 45 minutes to an hour. And then she said, okay, no problem, I'll come back. And we sent this picture to her and said, look, we need some help clarifying because we need to debunk this. And Diane, the lady, she was wearing a puffer jacket, a cardigan underneath, not a long cardigan, sort of like tights and some thick running shoes. Her comment back to Monique was, unless I did a wardrobe change, that ain't me. That was a comment. So we're still yet to know, and it's up on our Mon put it up on TikTok and on our Instagram account for people to actually have a look at too. So you can experience, and we'd love comments. I mean, if it creates a discussion, and we can try and work out exactly what may have caused it. We know pareidolia is a big thing when you take photos, and but when there's no flash and it's completely darkness, and to the point where I turned the IR camera off whilst I was walking down the corridor just to show people what I was looking at, and it's black. So I have no explanation for it. That was number one, and that's just one story of what happened, and everything started unfolding. We heard there's dragging noises, like a body's dragged or something's dragged along the ground that is so loud on camera. It scared the living daylights out of both. That's where Mon turned around and decided to take the beeline and says, I am out of here. And I said, no, you're not. You're staying with me. There was footsteps on the floor above us as well. And we had the guide with us at the time. And she was completely on edge when I turned around to her. I said, we have to go upstairs right now when we heard. I said, because I need to know no one's upstairs. And she looked at me and said, no, seriously, we have to go. And I wouldn't have found the stairwell because it's such a maze if you're not familiar with the place. And again, captured on camera, went upstairs, no one's there, yet we called out to the male spirit, which is notably known to be in this building. And we got definitive tapping on the glass and the timber panels, and it came closer and closer and closer to us to the point where it is so loud on camera, Barnaby. I tell you, I don't have explanations for it when you're on the top floor of a building with no trees, no wind, nothing's hitting the perimeter and surrounding. And it's just like you decide to tap on your wall now and hit a car and, you know.
It was no longer tapping at that point.
Yeah.
It was banging.
It was banging, quite aggressive.
And as close as probably 2 or 3 feet in front of us. So you're looking at the partition, you're thinking, I know exactly where the sound is coming from, but we see nothing.
I actually swore my head off. I go, what the, is going on here? I've gone closer to it and there's nothing there. Turn around to Mon, and we've discussed this numerous times afterwards, and Mon turned around to me and said, I have never been so scared in my life. I was getting off on this, by the way. This to me was another level. I was going, oh my God, I can't believe what we're doing right now. Yeah, and did you freeze? Yeah.
Mouth agape and thinking, what the hell is going on?
Yeah. That freeze motion happened to me when I heard that dragging noise, and that was in the kitchen. And Mon said, why didn't you go? And I said, I couldn't move. And I froze out of fear. And any other time, let's say like a 6'4" male protecting his wife, I swear to God, I was going to run quicker than Mon out of that place and leave her by herself. That's where it got to, because I just couldn't understand. We heard a tapping. The range hood in this kitchen, like this is an enormous kitchen. Like the pots are big enough that you and I could jump in them, right? This is what they were cooking in bulk for the actual asylum. And the range hood went forever across the ceiling. So we started hearing tapping in the top of the range hood. And there was stories of people have seen like eyes of a face through the holes in the range hood. They hear things move, and we heard something move. So we started getting a little bit panicky. And trying to work it out, but we debunked that because there was a possum in the actual in the ceiling, right? So that was debunked. But the dragging was there's no way to say other than it was something like a human being dragged along the ground,
or a bag of potatoes.
Yeah, like that.
Something
that feeling.
Being dragged.
And that's on our channels. We put it up, and there's nothing edited because it is the raw footage. I haven't even started editing this actual trip away yet, but we had to share that experience because I still get chills thinking about it. That place in particular scares the bejesus out of me. Yet I need to go back. Right, for that purpose to say, okay, well, I'm going to confront this, and in a way where I'll call it out. I want to know who it was or what it was, because I walked out. We left so quickly after that noise that once the guys came back in, we did a whole investigation of the kitchen, and we couldn't find anything. And they asked us what we heard. We heard a voice afterwards. We heard all this stuff, and it was on the camera. There's something being said afterwards, but I can't decipher what it was. But I've watched too many movies, mate. I tell you, too many mafia movies, all this stuff about bodies being dragged along the ground and dropped. You know what I mean? That's how it felt. It was incredible,
it's
mate.
Terrifying.
Incredible.
But we're going back.
Can't take it. They can't not let us back in. No. We're gonna go back there again. Yeah, so that was the experience, mate. That's what we took away from a romantic week away down to Victoria, or rural Victoria, and
that's our romance.
That's our romance, exactly right. Yeah, that's it. So we were pretty tired the next day, but there's nothing like really being scared. But
amazing.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. Like that's made me. I was already believing, but I tell you what, now I think I've just leveled up. Hey. I mean, that's where it sort of comes down.
I need that kind of in-your-face evidence, not equipment, but I need to see, I need to hear, I need to feel, and to the point where I've mentioned this before, I want to be scratched because to me that's the most physical evidence you can get.
Yeah, I question my wife sometimes, Barnaby, I'll tell you.
I'm a believer, but I still want that solid evidence.
I know. Yeah, maybe when we go, like I'm sure, like we go to the Sally house or somewhere else, and we hit up a place over over in your land that has complete and utter history of just
Scratching.
Geez, it's an obsession. I get it, right? But you know what? Yeah, do you know what? Human spirits. I think that's what it comes down to. Like stuff that has been conjured. I suppose unnecessarily brought into this realm that we live in, and that has, because I've watched the movies. I know what they look like in movies. I've never experienced that side of it personally, and it's probably something that it's going to sound crazy to listeners, that I would probably welcome to go into an environment to get proof and be respectful enough to protect myself and sage the crap out of myself and go into a, I don't know, what's the other stuff that you do? A holy water bath, anything that I need to do to be able to make sure that we're protected by the end of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just that trip was amazing. So if you get a chance, check it out, because I think you'll be quietly intrigued.
This place, I think they
amazing.
estimate about 13,000 people died there.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, and they were terribly treated.
As they were in asylums in the States and everywhere. It's terrible.
Yeah, there was, you had the violence as opposed to just a straight up mistreatment in there. The electroshock therapy, the lobotomies, everything that they thought potentially at the time may have been trying to help, but it was brutal. It was barbaric. There's nothing about that to me in my mind makes sense, right? Yet, I'm holding the original instruments, that they were using in rooms, and indirectly taunting the actual doctor because I thought what he did was disgusting. And our portal was saying, "Put it back," in a male's voice. Again, it's okay. Well, maybe this shit's real. It's where it comes down to. So, there you go, bud. But if you have a chance, have a look, because I love people to be able to look at what we've recently posted, because these stories to us, they're the highlights of what we've currently experienced as a couple doing paranormal investigating. We love the idea of sharing with people that that actually share the same interests as we do. So,
the majority of our daily, on TikTok, I'm posting things daily or every other day. And, at least once a week, there's a snippet of what we're currently editing. So these experiences we had at Aradale Asylum, I will first put up on TikTok and also on Instagram. I do share some things on our Facebook page, but predominantly TikTok. And then once the full video is edited, it'll go onto YouTube.
That'll be down the track, bud. A little bit further down the track.
Very cool. Yeah, so anybody that's interested, we are pre-recorded today. So if you guys had any questions or comments throughout the show, we're not ignoring you again, just recorded. But in the show notes is your links to the YouTube, the Instagram, the TikTok, and Facebook for anybody that wants to go check that out. Head over to the comments section or the show notes there, and you can get that. But so we're coming up here on the end of the show, guys. But what are your plans? You said you wanted to come over to the U.S. and do some investigating, but what does the future look like for you guys? You got anything coming up?
What do we have coming up?
We're going back to Beechworth.
Yeah, we need to give it another crack.
And when things settle down a bit in the States, I know there's hesitance in letting people come in. Tourists come in. So once things settle down, we're over there.
Well, we're manifesting great things, Barnaby. And I suppose that is the bucket list for anyone, I suppose, that is has that interest in the paranormal, and probably to the depth of where we've taken our interest, and now with the content we're creating, we have to get over there. I mean, that's a given. It may just be short bursts, like I said, but this trip back down to Victoria, we're going to do a little collab with some people that have become our good friends, and they were very keen to come down, and very, very, very educated investigators, and it will add a real nice spice, as we call it, the paranormal third wheel, right? So someone else that will come down and be part of our date night, so yeah, and I really look forward to that. So in the short term, that's what we're going to do. Long term, 100%. If we can, at the moment, the goal is to get a video out probably every month. That would be a ultimate goal. I'd love to do more. But yeah, mine's a stay-at-home mum, and like I said, with we have a massive family of 8 children, and I run a business, so I'm trying to step away more to be able to allow myself to do this. And so,
talking about what's to come for us, the pinnacle of our goals would be to collab with Twin Paranormal or Elton from the Overnight Channel.
We're looking.
One day,
we aim big, but we don't see any reason why someone wouldn't take on board 2 wonderful Australians and fun guys to hang out with, no matter what how big they may be with their current content. That whether they'd welcome the chance to be able to do something with us, we would jump all over it. So if Twin Paranormal are listening, we've sent you an email, guys. Just respond to us. That's basically the bottom line. So
we're coming over there.
We're coming over. We'll come over and we'll hunt you guys down one way or another. So it's going to be okay. Yeah, but it's been an absolute joy, mate. Thank you so much for taking the time to have us on your show.
Oh, absolutely. Pleasure is mine, guys. I love, sharing different people's works from around the world and different cultures and different areas and stuff. So it's always interesting hearing about it because, as much as you guys say that you want to come over here and investigate all the United States and all that stuff, I'm sure there's tons of my listeners that really want to go see that tunnel and, all the stuff that you guys talked about because, it's you don't realize what's in your own backyard. The people that, we've done all this stuff over here, Gettysburg, Savannah, Georgia, all the places that are over here in the U.S. That's old hat, right? We've done all that. That's all boring. We don't care about any of that stuff anymore. We want to go to Australia. We want to go to Europe and Ireland and all those other places and stuff. So I hear you. I feel it, but.
Do you know what? You ever get yourself out to Australia, mate, you got to hit us up because we'd love to have you as a guest.
And don't be scared of the spiders because they're not as big as you think, and they're not as prominent as you think.
I need to ask that question before we go. What is it about all the Americans and being so afraid of Australia because of spiders?
They won't come here because of the spiders.
So there's pictures floating around online that look like I'm in Wisconsin, and Wisconsin is known for the frozen tundra, the cold and stuff, right? So we get a lot of snow, and I've seen pictures of Australia that looks like you had a blizzard, and it's supposed to be just the spiders. So I won't be coming to that.
That scare the crap out of anybody. There was.
I've seen those.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures too. I know exactly what you're talking about. There was an infestation. It was nuts. They took over a whole town. Yeah.
So you don't deny it. There are snow-covered fields of spider.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never seen it.
I know.
I've seen the photos.
Clearly, you're still alive to tell the story, so you haven't. I can only imagine that anybody sees it as trapped in a cocoon of death right now. So,
It's an extreme way to go, wouldn't it be?
They talk about us like we're in the upside down.
The upside down from Stranger Things. I know. We are a far way away from you, mate. But I tell you, I think one day we're going to be heading over there as much as you will venture over here. There's a guarantee of that.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully.
That was a gulp. I know that was fear, bud. I did not mean. Yeah.
I tell you, we did an investigation. It was the Bloody Bride Bridge, and there's supposed to be the spirit of a girl that you park on the bridge, and she shows up in the back seat of your car, and all this stuff's going on this location. And it is a dark, dead-end road, and it is a creepy place at night. Yeah. And 100%, the scariest thing that happened that night was I found a spider the size of a silver dollar, about 2 inches round on that bridge. And that was it. I don't need to see no Bloody Bride. I don't need to see no paranormal. That spider did.
You look in your rearview mirror and see a spider, you are.
I am out. I will run down that dark highway.
I've just got to tell you, to be honest, that there's stories over here, and it's happened. Well, this hasn't exactly happened to me. It's almost happened, where a spider called a huntsman, about the size of my hand. People take down their visor on their windscreen, and there will be a spider sitting on there, and they kind of jump.
Going to get him
They like
excited
to
about
jump.
coming out to Australia. This is not helping.
Well, they're not going to hurt you, but
No,
they're
they're
really
harmless.
creepy. to look
That's
at.
how car fires start, right? So that they just torch the car and they're done with it. You know, you move on.
They like to hide in cars and things like that.
Yeah,
So
no, harmless and ugly.
I've had one trying
That's
to
it.
get into my car, so I've opened the door and it's just kind of there,
Yeah.
but it hadn't made its way into the car yet. So
Mm,
that was enough.
I know. But look, I was going to
We'll let
say,
you go.
we will let you go, but by all means, thanks again, mate. So I hope it's not the last time we have a chat.
Absolutely. Yeah. You guys, anytime that you got some new stuff coming out or anything or want to talk again, shoot me a message and love to have you guys back. So
Thanks so much for having
It's a pleasure,
us.
buddy. Thanks so much.
absolutely. All right. You guys take care. Have a good night. And I'm going to take a nap and then get up. So
Thanks, bud.
you guys have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, that is our show for this week. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to head on over to the show notes and check out all of their videos on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. All links are there for you to check out. And awesome. So great show today. Really appreciate you guys coming on. And until next week, guys, remember, we're all part of the paranormal spectrum. Take care, be well, and I'll see you next week.
You seem to know something I don't. What's going on?